let's get back to actually making the game. First thing we're going to do is hazards and health. So we have the player here, we have the sprite, we have the main movement. We're going to create a new child node because in Unity we would just add a new component to the player object, but this isn't Unity, this is Godot, and that has the weird case that game objects and components are effectively in the same thing. So we're just going to add a blank node to this. We're going to call it. I'm going to call it health. We're going to add a new script called player health, and we now have this. So we're going to have a public int maximum health, public int starting health, a public int health, which is a get private set, and we're only going to export the top two. What we're going to do on ready is set health, starting health. We're going to have a bunch of so there we go. We're going to have a change health, so that can be plus or minus. It's going to clamp between 0 and the maximum health. And we could put that in the setter, but I prefer to do it in the functions because you can call these functions as signals, whereas we can't. I don't think we can call setters with signals. We're going to do that, and then health is 0, then we kill the player. We're not really going to need to do anything on every frame, so we're just going to get rid of that. Public void reset. We might also want to put in a that, and all that does is health is less than maximum health. So if we can add, if we can change the health, do we need that? We don't need that just yet. It might come in handy later. But actually, that's a much better pattern. So that'll do. So we'll try change health. You'll get a bill back. If our so say for example there is health. We have health in the game. You have like 10 hit points. You take some damage. You hit a health pack. It boosts you up. We might not want it to actually change the health if your health is at full and you hit a med pack. You don't want to consume that med pack. You don't want to consume that med pack if it's not going to do anything for you. Now we could put that logic into the med pack itself, but this makes it just simpler. If you want to change the health, you do a try change health. It reminds you right from the off that all this logic is in one place. And because we did change the health, even though it killed the player, if it took damage, then we do that. Same thing will happen if the health is 0. So if you damage a player, so we might have, for example, a bullet that when it impacts the player will do damage to the player and destroy the bullet. If the player is at if there's a bug in this right away. We don't want to heal from 0. We do want to damage from. So we only don't want to heal if the health is maximum. We do want to do damage. Otherwise, if you're at maximum health, you'll never take damage. Okay, so the reason we're putting this in a separate function is because we might actually want to kill the player right away. Like, there might be an instant kill mechanic. I haven't decided all this yet. In fact, I am going to have both. So we'll set our health to 0. We will. We need to figure out how to send a signal. So we're going to once again create. Actually, no, I think this is one of the ones where Godot creates the constants for you. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for group signals. I wish it would remember that I've tagged C#, but it doesn't. I get tree call group. That's what we want to do. Okay, so we want to go in here. We want to add group. Where do we add groups? Manage groups. There we go. We're going to create a new group. We're going to call it game control. Yeah, it doesn't. So we're going to add public static class. What's it called? Group constants. Call group, and the method will be player has died. We also want to put in a sure that is dead is false when we go into ready. If we're already dead, we don't do any of this. We only want to control. We only want to call it player has died once. We actually want to do this on enter tree. So that if we remove the player from the tree and add it back in, we want it to reset itself. So that's kind of like a respawn mechanic. I'm going to tag that. Just make sure that it calls it the first time we do it. So we have health. We're going to play. Player spawned. There we go. So next we want to add a hitbox to the player. So we're going to add a child node. We're going to add an area. The area needs a new parent, I believe, or is it a child? Yeah, collision shape. Collision shape 2D, that'll do. Make it rectangle. That's right, we've got to change that. So that's going to be 32 by 24. No, 24 by 32 is what I did. Is it? Oh, it's up there. Because that one is. Oh, I did it a different size. I did it as 32 by 48. That's what I did. So that's gonna be our heart box. It's gonna be where we take damage from. Might want to change that, depending on the nature of the game, to something a bit smaller. What we're going to do is we're going to have a, how can we put this, a damage listener. So this is going to take collision commands and process them. How can I? How can we do this? Let's look at Godot and collisions. And that's physics, collision shapes. How do I detect collisions in Godot? Okay, so we do want to give the player a kinematic body, potentially. Okay, so we don't need a thing here. We need to change the type of this to supposed to be kinematic. Oh, they've changed it to static body 2D. That's probably why. Or is it character body? Yeah. So we do that. change that to hitbox. So what we'll do is we will no, I don't want the tooltip. Visible collision shapes. So when we play this, we should see all the collision shapes. If I move that, yep, it's moving with me. And what we're going to do is hook up. On collision detected. And I just got a text or something. Yeah, we can ignore that. So on collision detected. We're not going to put anything in there just now. We're just going to save that. We're going to rebuild. We're going to take signals and we're going to do. Where is it? It did say there would be a signal in here. Body entered, body exited. Oh, the area itself. Okay, so it's forcing us to handle collisions on the... It's forcing us to handle collisions on the side of the thing being collided to, not the player. Right, okay. Okay. That probably means we want to put the health on this. So, what is that character body? Player health. And we change the script. Does the script care about being a specific one? No, I don't think it does. Ah, hello, Coevect. Welcome to the channel. Right, I'm still trying to work out how to best do this in Godot because I am coming from Unity and I'm trying to wrap my head around the way things are done differently here. Because if you did it in Unity, I'm doing fine. If you did this in Unity, you both the collision, both the collider and the collidee would have events, but for some reason not so here. So we're going to create ourselves a hazard. We're going to create ourselves a hazard. We're just going to give it a color. And we're going to make that a red color for hazard. We're going to make it slightly semi-transparent too. I'm going to bring that down here. That's just going to be our damage zone. And we're going to do the same again. We're going to give it an area and a collision shape of a rectangle. How big is that? Like 40, 48? Maybe not. How big is that color rect? Ah, there we go. 40 by 40. Oh, I suppose that's a good a size as any. Then we're going to transform that. We're going to move that 2020 so that it's over it. And then this area, there we go. Body enter, body exit. And then it will say, oh, the body for the player, which is this hitbox. And then we will fire the signal. Okay. So on the hazard, we will create a new script called basic hazard. Public void very simple. Go into the area, we're going to the node, we will find this. How is the development going? The development is going fine. This is the second day of doing it. We did about 3 hours yesterday. There we go, hazard. Yeah, I don't quite get that. I don't quite get why that moved to connecting from to hazard advanced. Ah, there we go, advanced. Okay. What is that? It's body of node 2D. Oh, you're an idiot. We need to build first. Keep forgetting about that automated build for build stuff. So hazard, pick, body entered. That's what we wanted. Next, it'll bring that up. So now, if we play, that should throw an error. Invalid cast exception. Unable to cast player health to node 2D. That is because we have done player health as node 2D. Okay. Also, we need to take that off of the solid layer. Aha! There we go. We're getting the body entered hitbox. But it does mean that we can make solid hazards. That's fine. That's not what we're going for. So inspector. Area 2D. Is that what we want? Yeah, collision. We want to take it off all of the layers. Okay, now that it's off of all the layers, it doesn't trigger anything. That's good to know. We'll do layer 4. We'll edit the layers. Edit layer names. We will give that a layer of triggers. Now it's on the trigger layer. And all that means it's just got a layer. Is it because I didn't put a mask on? Is that what it was? Mask off? Yeah, it looks like it was. Let's take the layer off and leave the mask on. We're just experimenting now. Ah, so I can just have it as no layer. And it will still... So long as... Okay, so long as its mask is on, it will detect bodies on that layer. Okay, so we want to change it from solid to player. And then we change that hitbox's collision from that to player. There we go. That's fine. We just want to keep everything right. So we're now triggering that. That's fine. Where did that color rect go? Is it just too transparent? It was just too transparent. There we go. So now what we want to do is damage the player. So basic hazard, other name, If other is player health, try change health, and we'll do a public in damage is 1. Export that. And we need some way of, because this will happen every frame. We don't want it to happen. We'll add in mercy and vulnerability at some point. One of the reasons why we want to have the try in there so that we don't have to check for all the invulnerability states in every object. We just want to have it done in the player health object. So what we'll do is right line. Okay, so now we just have to look at that, get rid of that now, since we don't actually need that. That's not the way we're doing things. This is a decent way. This is a decent way to think about doing this as well. This kind of flow. The object that is dealing the damage does all the logic for dealing the damage. Okay. So we're entering the hitbox. See why this isn't working. Body is player health. Can we connect debugger to I don't know if we can connect to the C# debugger. We'll look into that. Yeah, let's see what this is going on here. I think it might be hitting this for some reason. That's why we don't have a maximum health. So we'll give it 100 health and 100 starting health. That's why. We need to be sending in minus damage. We don't want this to be a healing area. Although that could be an idea. Ah, it'll only happen when you enter it once. Ah, it's not going to happen every frame. Okay. That's good to know. Do we like that behavior? We do not like that behavior, no. No, I don't want to delete. I want to delete that. Okay, so we want to have this. Um, and we do want to try and damage this every frame while it's inside. So no, we'll just do it as a hash map. Oh god, what's hash set? Uh, okay, so body exited. We remove it from the track list. Body added. We added the track list, and we do damage right away. Do we only? We don't want to track only player health because we might want to be damaging other stuff. We might make it into an interface later. We want to do it on process physics. Okay, so every physics tick, it will look through everything in that hash set and do all the do. When it exits, it'll remove everything from it. We will reset it when it enters the tree, because that will be akin to enabling and disabling, removing the tree, add it back onto the tree, respawn it. We don't want it to have any memory. We go. So every frame we were in there, we took damage. So we entered it, we dealt damage. Until we got to 0 hit points, and the player is dead. And it's still going to try and deal damage to it, but it can't, so nothing happens. Which is what we intended to. Now we're going to add mercy and vulnerability. Public pool. We want to expose this. We're not going to use this just yet, but we do want to expose it because we're going to use that to in the animator, because we want an animation to play when you're in mercy and vulnerability state. So we also want to have. We're going to do this in a similar way to how we did the the button buffering. Long, I think it is. The last hit time. OS and not always time dot 6 milliseconds. We only care about millisecond precision. What is it? U-long. Oolong. Oh, I just realised we don't have any music playing. Let's get some music playing. It was all very boring without music. Let's see if we can get that in the mix. Okay. Last hit time is that. So we're actually going to take that and make it that. Is less than mercy and vulnerability milliseconds. So again, we're assuming that this isn't a big hit to performance. There, it's invulnerable. What do we want to set this to default? About a second, maybe? Just to be kind. Show it off. We can change this later. There we go, we're invulnerable. Tick, tick, tick. Our health is going down by 1 every second or so. Move out. You can see our health is only 89 despite being in there for a fair few seconds. So now we need to actually kill the player. How do we do that? We want to remove it from the world once it takes damage. So what we once again need to do is add a root node. Do we need to add a root node? Or do we just need to make it a signal? No, I think we need to make it a root node. So when we kill the player, we signal that the player has died, and root dot Is that the best way to remove an object? Let's double check. Queue free. Interesting. Ah. Okay. So we do that, and it should remove it from the tree. Also realised that we've given it far too much health if we're going to do that. We're going to go here. We're going to do that. Watch the remotes. So there's the player. 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't set a root on it, that's why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deleted. And the player's no longer in the remote. Good, 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 good. So we can now take damage. We can now kill the player. What we'll also do... Do we want to do a reaction? I think we also want to do a reaction in this lot. We'll do that. We'll get the player to react to being hit. And then we'll take a break. I approve. Like he's night out. So, what we need to add into here is a knockback, effectively. So we will have a private the control's disabled until. What this means, it will be on a physics trajectory, effectively. Disabled until. So what we're going to add in here is a public void for that's all we really need to do for that. So now we've got a variable which says controls are locked while the current millisecond time is less than that. So when that's 0 at the start, it should just be fine. We don't want to change the X speed, so if controls are locked, we do all of these. Yeah, so we're going to do a private void process controls. Move that into there. Okay, so if the controls aren't locked, we process the controls. We're going to do a public void react to damage. We are going to set the X speed equal to math.sine of X speed. So if you're facing... Actually, we do need to add in a new direction. The direction can either be left or right, 1 or 0. I will make it 1 just now. And we never set that back to 0. That will always be 1. So when you press right, your direction will be that. If not, your direction will be left. So we want the X speed to be minus direction times knockback speed. Knockback speed. We'll make that the same as the walk speed just now. Block controls for 1 second. Just the whole. Actually, we'll make it half. We'll make it half the time of the mercy and vulnerability. So that should cause us to go back. Oh, that should be a U long. But all of those should be a U long. Not changing it now. That should be fine. What do we do here? So the player has taken damage. Player has taken damage. We'll put that in the game control. What this means is we just do that. Player has taken damage. And we add it. Rebuild first. We will add the player to the group of... No, I didn't save it because I didn't actually add anything to it. Thank you. Game control. So that is now... That is now part of that. Why is player hitboxing? What? No. I've not. Why is? Come on, Godot. Don't be like this. That was highlighted and selected. Why was it? Okay, so that's now part of game control. In fact, main movement. This node isn't good. Game control, that's fine. So we'll call player has taken damage. Good. Call this. Okay, and it does. It reverses our movement. We also need to set we set that to -100. So we should now go that way. Cool. We'll make that 400. And no, not that. That'll be hell of a stupid. Okay, so maybe I think the 300 is enough. Knockback duration, we'll make it that. That felt really weird. Because we also need to transition to air. I think we need to turn the mercy and vulnerability down. That's where the jankiness is coming from that. We'll make that half a second. There we go. There we go. We're doing it. We've got reactions to it. We've got the player dying. We've got it signaling player death. And we're going to just remove a bunch of these debugged ones. I do want to figure out if I can connect to the debugger in this. Don't think it's possible. We want to keep players dead in there, because we are going to be dealing with that later. Cool. So, what we'll do is we'll just take a quick 5-10 minute break. And we'll be back in a second. Just enjoy the wonderful sax. And I'll be back in a second.